Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. We're going to give everyone a minute or two to join, but in the meantime, if you want to put in the chat where you're dialing in from, would love to see where everyone is calling from. Chicago. I was just there this week.
Oh, nice. I missed you, Lindsay.
Yeah, did a little quick in and out team visit.
There we go.
Minnesota, Costa Mesa, Michigan, Dayton, San Francisco, Denmark. I think I missed a Kelowna. I might be pronouncing that one wrong. From Canada, Sonora, Montreal. Wow, we've got everyone from everywhere. Bend, Maine. This is great. Welcome everyone. Toronto. I love seeing some US and Europe and Canada. We can be friends in this webinar today, even though we're being very competitive in the Olympics overall. But yeah, great. Give everyone one more minute. Austin. All right. Well, I think we've got a good number of attendees coming if anyone joins. But thank you all, like I said, for joining today. We are going to talk all about driving customer loyalty ahead of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and the holiday season. I can't believe we're already halfway through summer and we're starting to talk about this, but it's the time. And we're so excited to be here with some great panelists to start the discussion. So just to kick everything off, I am Lindsay Kolinsky. I am the Director of Marketing here at Okendo. If you're not familiar with Okendo, we are a customer marketing platform with reviews, surveys, referrals, quizzes, and then about a month ago, we just released our loyalty program. So very on topic for our conversation today. But in terms of today's webinar, just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. So please enter all of your questions in the chat throughout the presentation. If we have time after the discussion, we are going to do a live Q&A with our panelists. If not, I will make sure all the panelists get your questions and follow up as well. We know this is a critical time and we want to give you all the information that you can. I think most of you are already doing this in the chat, which is great, but please make sure to send to panelists and attendees or to everyone. Otherwise, everyone else in the webinar might not be able to see your questions as well. And then, like it says here, I see some questions coming in. Yes, you will receive a recording and a copy of the presentation about 24 hours after the webinar. All right, so I already introduced myself, but let's kick it off with an introduction for our panelists today. And Lauren, we'll start with you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lauren Lovato. I am a Senior Partnership Manager here at Gorgias. We don't know who we are. We are a help desk dedicated to e-commerce, also have some really stellar AI built in to help customer service teams, but excited to be chatting with all these fine folks, and thanks for joining us today.
Hi, I am Aaron Dunca, VP of Merchant Success here at Rebuy. If you're not familiar with Rebuy, we are a personalization engine for Shopify stores, helping ensure that your customers are being recommended the right products at the right time with the right content. And yeah, very excited to jam with all the thought leaders here and drop some knowledge.
All righty, hey everyone, John Knott, Director of Ecosystem Partnerships at Tapcart. Happy to be here today with many of our wonderful partners and our mutual customer, Dixxon. Black Friday, Cyber Monday prep starts earlier every year, doesn't it? So we're in July and it seems like we're in the thick of it. So excited to talk through some things that can hopefully give you a few takeaways to take to your business.
Hello, everyone. I am Gabby Noakes. I am the e-commerce manager at Dixxon Flannel Company. And if you've never heard of Dixxon, we are a fashion and apparel company. Our main product is flannels, but we are best known for our flannel collaborations, specifically with Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and Black Sabbath.
Love that. Such a cool group of people to brag about being associated with your brand. All right, so just to kick it off, we've got, like I said, a ton of conversation to go through today to help you get prepared. But just to really set the scene, just an important stat we really like to think about why loyalty is important. I'm sure this isn't news to anyone here, but returning customers spend 67% more than new customers. So I know Black Friday, there's going to be a lot of talk about acquisition and driving traffic, but it is equally as important to make sure you're thinking about your existing customers and building that loyalty ahead of Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So that actually brings me to my first question as to why should brands be looking to prioritize loyalty in general, but even more especially ahead of Black Friday, Cyber Monday? And John, let's start this one with you.
That sounds good. So I think, gone are the days of being able to endlessly acquire customers at a very cheap cost. We're no longer in 2010, for good and for bad, right? But it's also no secret that customer acquisition costs, especially around the holidays, are on the rise, right? And they have been for the past several years. Especially with paid channels, which I know that is one of the core channels that folks are acquiring customers through. So brands need to ensure that they're able to have a healthy CAC to LTV, or customer acquisition cost to lifetime value ratio, by bringing customers back time and time again. And most of you already have an idea of how you're going to do that, right? You have a way that you're thinking about retention after the holidays. But thinking about the channels through which you're going to be able to do so is actually really important, right? Versus spending an arm and a leg to retarget customers through paid channels. Tapcart customers like Dixxon, who's on the call, who will dive into this in a bit, are diversifying their own marketing and leveraging push notifications as a part of the core strategy to retarget and bring customers back into the fold time and time again, right? It's really about meeting customers where they are. And data tells us that 85, 86% of customers are on mobile, right? So being able to leverage this channel in a meaningful way can really help to complement what it is you're doing with your loyalty program as well. And so a lot of our brands think of their app as a part of their loyalty program. So just kind of setting the stage a little bit for some ways that we're thinking about why loyalty is so important before the holidays.
Anyone want to add to the loyalty, why, you guys are thinking about this as really important ahead of the holidays?
I mean, I can definitely touch on that just from a merchant perspective. I mean, looking at the stats, our most loyal customers, at least 8% of them place at least 6 orders, whereas only 0.7% of non-loyalty members place nearly that many. They at least 100% place 1, but after that, it drops significantly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it just goes to show, talking about that LTV to CAC ratio, talking about the 67%, this time is so critical for brands and, can make or break your end of year. So it's really just, like I said, equally as important to make sure that you have a plan for your existing customers, and not just how are we going to acquire new, right? You want to make sure that you're thinking about how do we make this special for our customers that have been with us already up into this point, or how do we drive that loyalty up into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, especially knowing your competitors are going to probably be having heavy offers, heavy discounts, all these other things that if they're price sensitive or they're not loyal to your brand ahead of the holiday, you also risk losing them as well. So just something to think about as we're setting the stage there. So great. So moving on and kind of the next evolution of that, what are some of the most effective strategies and best practices for cultivating loyalty within your customer base? And again, knowing that Black Friday, Cyber Monday is coming, what can we be doing now to start that? And Lauren, let's start with you here.
Yeah. Thank you, Lindsay. So I think one of the biggest things is just providing an exceptional customer experience. And that even starts with customer service itself, right? So a couple of things that can be done here is one, including automation into processes. I mean, nowadays AI is everywhere, right? It's the talk of the town. Most of us are using it today without even realizing it. And leveraging, using the tools that you already have, seeing what AI capabilities are already there and actually leveraging it to answer, FAQs and get customers the answers that they want and need fast. Quick example with Gorgias, for instance, like we just recently launched a new AI feature called AI Agent. And it's actually allowing merchants to achieve an average of a 50-second first response time, 1 minute resolution time, and overall a 50% automation rate. So, you know, having AI and automation is definitely a game changer. But I also think like having self-service options as well for customers is important. Just really putting the power back into their hands. So things like help centers, the ability to track orders on their own, things of that nature are going to be a game changer. They're going to give a brand a competitive advantage because thanks to, you know, places like Amazon, as consumers, they've set our expectations so high to have visibility into our order, not only get orders quickly, but at least have visibility. And so, you know, as consumers, we really want that kind of insight. So again, having things like a help center, having things like order tracking available, you know, whether it's in chat or if you have a link on your website where they can input, you know, their email or phone number, something easy to, you know, actually attain that information. And like between these two things, it also ends up leaving time for your support teams to be able to nurture higher value tickets and build community via social media, which further cultivates loyalty, right? I mean, most people I know are active or somewhat active on social media, and you know, they follow their brands. If you know, they are looking for or waiting for a product launch, like they're looking at their Instagram page. And so it's really all these things, it's kind of a domino effect, right? So again, exceptional customer service, having these tools in place like automation, self-service are going to lead to just an overall exemplary experience.
Yeah, I would like to double tap on really ensuring that your customers are seeing an exceptional customer experience. And I think like a big part of this, especially when it comes to loyalty, is like understanding the things that are required in order to do that. So I think like analyzing and collecting the data is the first step. As Gabby mentioned, like understanding who your loyal customers are and what their tendencies are as well too. If you are a consumable brand, right, you may have specific products that are reorderable and that are often reordered that are kind of causing this loyalty. Whereas maybe if you're not a consumable brand, like you want to figure out ways to show new and complementary products to kind of drive that loyalty as well too. And this kind of ties into the first topic where we were talking about like, okay, like why focus on loyalty ahead of BFCM? Yes, you're going to acquire more customers for BFCM, but it's so important to have a strategy in place so that after you acquire those customers, like they can become those loyal brand advocates that you know. So at Rebuy, like we really think about loyalty in terms of like segmenting your customers and then deploying that data into actionable strategies so that, you know, a specific segment of customers can have a unique personalized experience, which is ultimately going to generate more revenue for your store because the probability to convert is higher, the probability to come back is higher as well too. So yeah, those are kind of like a few things that we think about, and also like designing really unique experiences for your best customers. And those can be deployed via like gift with purchase campaigns, right? You know, maybe specific tier discounts that are only available to specific loyalty tiers. Lots of different angles to take there.
Yeah, I totally agree on like the last piece you mentioned, right? It's like, you know, we have the opportunity around the holidays to gather a lot of new fans, right, who become loyalists at some point, right? They become part of your VIP segment that you see the highest return rate, you see the highest revenue per session, you see that they're shopping with you over a longer period of time, right? And like those customers want to have an authentic relationship with you and the brand. And one thing that we've seen a lot of our successful customers do is that they find a way to tailor the in-app experience like for those customers, right? But one of our customers, Opoly, for example, they launch all of their collections in the app at least an hour early, sometimes 24 hours early. They give special they give special sales and promotions. So like you're really thinking about how you can create a differentiated experience and leveraging a really cost-effective channel like push notifications to be able to do so, right? And that's how they're able to see 400 million push notifications translate to 40% of their revenue coming from the app, even though there's maybe only 20% of their total customers that are there. So going a step further and thinking about not just what your loyalty program looks like, but what does your VIP segment look like, and how can you set that up for success so that you can capitalize on all these new loyalists that you've gained over the holidays.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in terms of like what you just said, it's that segmentation and really understanding who your VIPs are. And honestly, loyalty programs are going to be, to your point, like a key to that as well. And just being able to measure and identify those people. But you're also needing to think about like, how do I get people to that top tier of loyalty? Like, what are those experiences that are going to drive that? And sometimes that is the loyalty program in itself, and the way that you're, setting up your rewards and your earn rules and the discounts, but there's also other experiences you can add to that as well. So, I mean, thinking about like, again, just from the very beginning of their customer journey, not even during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but someone who's coming to your website now, right? Like making sure they have that good first experience with you, whether it's personalization or customer service, or they're really confused as to like your whole product catalog and what's going to be right for them, and offering them a product recommendation quiz from the start so that their first purchase with you, right, is the right one for them. They're less likely to return. They're more likely to like feel like that product's right. Like it's all about having those experiences. If they're unsure, having the social proof from reviews to make sure that like if there was anything blocking their decision, right, that they saw that other people are liking it, or even so far as just asking a survey at the end, like how is our on-site experience, doing like an NPS score or CS score, or asking them more about themselves, so then you can further personalize and identify, like, to that point of segmentation, like this person likes this product because they might like this, for example. If you're athleisure, right, you're finding out someone likes yoga, well, that's an opportunity for you to personalize that Black Friday, Cyber Monday experience. So I think it's, loyalty programs are important, but it's also thinking about your whole customer marketing tech stack and how you can really use all of that to build that loyalty and then get those people to your highest, tiers and your highest experiences. So with that, I think that's probably a great transition to you, Gabby, who is, recently launched our Okendo loyalty program, and I'll let her talk all about that. But, being the only brand on this call, how are you encouraging customer loyalty? And then what are some of the things that you are doing to maintain engagement during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or planning to do?
Well, it's difficult because customer expectations are so high these days. They want their brand interactions to not only be relevant, but they want it to be almost tailored to themselves and their interests, while being authentic to the brand. So that's essentially kind of where we've started, is the authenticity. And we've built a Black Friday program that allows customers to still get that Black Friday experience, but it still sticks to who we are as a company, because the way we operate, we don't restock anything. Everything is limited edition. So because of that, we don't do a whole lot of sales. So when it comes to Black Friday, we didn't want to just, announce a big sale and have everybody shop everything. So what we do is we do multiple new product releases and offer those at a discounted rate, and because everything's limited edition and they're released in small capsules, it kind of creates that collector mindset that our audience and customers have. And so we do this over the course of 2 weeks prior to Black Friday, so we can allow customers to kind of separate their spending a little bit, and they're not doing it all on, one particular, Black Friday or, Cyber Monday type of situation. And then in regards to keeping them on board afterwards, it all comes down to the loyalty program itself. Like when they make a purchase, we have an email campaign going that allows our customers to see how many points they've earned with their purchase that they recently made, whether it be Black Friday, whether it be, Cyber Monday, which we typically do Cyber Sunday, again, to kind of seem offbeat as we are. And so it allows our customers to see, oh, I've earned this many points on this purchase, whether they're loyalty members or not. And then if they are loyalty members, it will display how many points they have to their next reward or to the next tier, how many more points they have to earn. And then it just encourages our customers to, sign up for that loyalty program if they're not already part of it.
Great. And Gabby, you did mention something about, your customers being unique and the way they feel like engaged with your brand. Can you go a little bit into like how you, or just talk, I guess, because I know this, but tell everyone kind of about your loyalty program and how you went about like naming it, because it is just so unique. And I think it just goes to show like sticking to your brand is also so important for driving loyalty.
Absolutely. Yeah. I never thought that I would be saying this in my career, but our loyalty program has been dubbed the Dixxon Insider Loyalty Fam, or DILF for short. So we use that as part of our marketing strategy. Like we'll post, social media posts being like, are you a DILF? Are you part of our loyalty program? Or are you a deadbeat? Are you missing out on all these opportunities? And we have so much fun with it. Our customers have so much fun with it, which just, brings a whole different level of delight and encouragement to sign up for it. And we've really built upon that, like with our tiers specifically. Like we didn't want to just name them, bronze, silver, gold. So we've dubbed them, let me pull up the exact names here. We've got amateur, pro, legend, and then we added a fourth tier because we didn't feel like 3 were enough. So we've got the Hall of Fame tier, which currently only has about 56 members. However, we encourage people to try to get to that tier because the #1 prize in that tier that our customers are most excited about is we've offered a limited edition flannel that is only available to people in that tier. So it's kind of that like, oh, I get to brag me, I'm a top DILF, it's it's a lot of fun. But yeah, no, our customers have so much fun with it. We have so much fun with it. And definitely sticking to that authenticity and matching the brand and tailoring that experience to your customers, I think is super important. And it's really helped us with the launch of the loyalty program itself. We've been launched for maybe a little over a month at this point, and we have over 13,000 members already enrolled, which is really exciting. And especially when they're spending at least 12%, the AOV is 12% higher with our loyalty members versus non-loyalty members. It's just incredible how much of a difference it actually makes.
Yeah, I think that's great. This is why I love talking about your loyalty program, because it's so fun. We never get to talk about DILFs in general. Like it's just so it really goes to show like when people are thinking about loyalty. And I think Lauren, you mentioned something about community earlier, right? Like building that, there's so many different ways to do it. So I think like your loyalty program, as you said, you already had loyal customers. And I think sometimes people are hesitant of like, well, why do I need a loyalty program? I already have my loyal customers. I'm just going to be like rewarding people that are already loyal to me, right? But this is exactly why, because when you actually formalize it as a program, you start to build that community, and then you start to get those ways to try to encourage them to do like even more things. So I know just things like, Tapcart, that's an integration that's hopefully coming soon, but being able to like reward loyalty points for downloading your mobile app and getting them to engage more and encouraging those behaviors, or referring a friend, or any of those things, right? It's like, yes, these people might have already been loyal to you, but loyalty programs are such a good way, and especially getting it ahead of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, right? So you can start getting new people into them by the holidays right away. Like it just makes it feel more like they're part of something than they were before.
Well, and it's absolutely a way to show them that you appreciate them, when they're amidst a sea of different, alternatives. There's so many other flannel companies out there that they could choose to go with. And so this was our way of showing appreciation. And one thing that was amazing about Okendo, because we had tried to launch a loyalty program prior, was Smile. And it didn't end up working out. We didn't even get it launched. We made one social post and we had so many complaints as we were answering questions for customers because we couldn't backdate orders. And Okendo allowed us to backdate those orders, so they have points already from the 12-month rolling program when they sign up, which is just makes them feel even more appreciated when we've had those customers that have been with us for 10 11 years, a long time to place orders. So yeah, no, that made the world of difference in the launch between our previous one and the current that we've just launched with Okendo.
Yeah, that's actually so important too, leading up to the holidays, because I think we talked about like price sensitivity, John, you might have some stats from your like recent report on that as well, but just the idea that like people do get frustrated when they are loyal to your brand and then they see that like, oh, this is on sale now, but I purchased it here, or subscribers seeing that like they can apply, promos to their subscriptions or things like that. So Black Friday, like, while it's great to drive sales, it also is an opportunity. I'm sure, Lauren, you know all about probably, those complaints that can come in from people as well. So again, just making them feel appreciated ahead of the holidays and being able to do that through like something like backdating is so important.
Yeah, and I can add a little color to what you mentioned about like price sensitivity. So Tapcart just released a big Black Friday, Cyber Monday report with a few of our partners. We take, I think, like upwards of like 2,000 consumers. It's a third party that kind of like finds them randomized. So we're not going out on the street with the mic and interviewing people, although that would be fun. They said that 44% of shoppers are planning their Black Friday purchases more than a week in advance, right? So they're planning them before they're even getting on to consider them, up from 38% last year, right? And like that's very similar to the data that we see that says that this year's Black Friday shoppers are also more likely to be on a budget. Only 14% not having a budget too, right? So definitely interesting for us to be able to get in front of that. We need to be thoughtful about how we're messaging to consumers, because whenever they're on, they're most likely, they're able to spend as much as they did last year, but there's certainly paradox of choice in terms of like when they're actually making that purchase.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just saw one question come in that I'll just clarify before we go. So backdating actually is when you're rewarding, if you launch a loyalty program, you're giving them points up front for past purchases. So, not just saying today is our loyalty program from what you earn, you're actually being able to kind of recognize all of your loyal customers that already existed before the program and give them like a head start on that. Great. Well, moving on. So I know we talked a little bit about segmentation earlier and some of those personalized experiences. So I want to go a little bit deeper on that and kind of give each of our panelists an opportunity. But what are some of those like personalization and campaign ideas that brands can employ for Black Friday, Cyber Monday? And Aaron, let's start with you on this one.
Yeah, so I think just in general for Black Friday, we're seeing a lot of brands move away from these blanket, massive, just like percentage off discounts, right? Like they want to figure out different ways to delight their customers. So again, double tapping on understanding who your customers are and what segment they may fall into and what offers might be most appealing to them is really the first step. One example that comes to mind, and a brand that I think does this really well, is Momofuku. So they are a Rebuy customer, and based off of their data, they understand. So they sell pantry goods, chili crunches, noodles, and based off of their data, they understand that when customers purchase cross-category, they actually see higher LTV from those customers, better retention rates, more returning customers. So part of their strategy when we were working with them was, okay, like how can we design these unique experiences that are specific to those customers, or maybe bringing them into those higher loyalty tiers, let's call it, right? So one example of personalization that comes to mind is like, okay, if you know customers purchasing from one specific category in your store are also very likely to become more loyal customers if they're cross-purchasing across another category, like let's design a gift with purchase campaign where they get a product from another category or they are rewarded for purchasing in that other category as well. So that is like one example that we've seen to be really effective in terms of, generating some ideas for BFCM. And kind of interestingly enough, I'm a customer of Momofuku, and I got an email from them like a month ago talking about, hey, like how did I participate in their previous year's Black Friday and what would make their Black Friday offers more compelling. And I have a hunch that they're using this data to help power their upcoming Black Friday. So gathering that first party data, obviously super, super valuable, and then figuring out how that plays into the long-term strategy for your brand. I'll throw this link in the chat here as well too, which is kind of cool way where you can see like they're incentivizing gift with purchases.
Yeah, that's so great too, because like you said, just like asking your customers, like you have this time now. It seems so obvious, but I don't think enough brands spend the time to do it. enough because it just seems like, you know, just too easy, right? But like with the survey tool or something like that, you could do post-purchase, or you can again like look at those high value customers and like a shareable link and just ask them a few questions like what would you find value in, any of that. And that's kind of like more of a direct way to get that feedback. But I think again, in terms of just like that personalization and like how you're going to get that zero and first party data that's going to help you like create those personalized experiences during the holidays. It's equally as important like right now to be thinking about how you're collecting that data and using this time to collect that data on your existing customers. And just things like, again, less obvious ways apart from, you know, surveying and asking them, you know, if you're asking them for a review, you can always add attributes just to like ask like, what are your interests? Or like, you know, if you're hair care or something, like what type of hair do you have? Or, you know, what are your hair concerns? Where do you live? Like all those factors that are going to change. That's like a super easy way to do it. Again, I think I mentioned quizzes earlier, which is like a more fun and interactive way. And I think all these, again, just going back to like customer experience, all that, like getting data now in a way where the customer knows they're giving you their data, but they see like what you're doing gives them something in return, right? Like you do a quiz, they get a recommendation at the end. You do a review, usually you'll give coupon or loyalty points or something like that. So they're getting something back. Whereas same with the survey as well, you can offer like coupons, any of that. But I think this is also that time that if you want to have those personalized campaigns for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you need to be thinking now about, well, how am I going to actually be able to segment, right? Like, how do I make sure I know who these people are, or I know what they care about, or any of that. So this is kind of that critical time to help you prepare as well.
And Lindsay, if I can just chime in really quick, I just had a thought come across my mind while you were speaking. One thing that I have seen that is actually quite underrated with a lot of our merchants is leveraging customer service data as well. Like looking whatever help desk you're using, whether it's Gorgias or something else, digging into that data, because that also provides a wealth of knowledge on how you can, you know, segment campaigns, like figure out what are customers asking about. Maybe there was products that were discontinued. Are they reaching out about those certain products? Like that kind of information can also provide, you know, really good insights on how to further personalize messaging ahead of the holiday season.
Yeah.
So just a little thought.
No, that is so true. Just like to your point as well, is like your agents are on with your customers. So like any opportunity where you're getting that data and like seeing what you can do and letting all of those insights drive your Black Friday, Cyber Monday strategy, figuring all that out is so important. I love that.
Totally.
Great.
I'm happy to hop in here a little bit. So we already spoke to rewarding your most loyal customers with, you know, in-app exclusives, early access to products, promotions, etc. But I think we've seen a lot of brands get really creative with this, and you don't necessarily have to do these inside of the app, but we've certainly seen a lot of success with doing so. It's finding a really creative way that's going to encourage shopping behavior without giving away house and home and giving away margin on every single order, right? Versus having a 40% off for a particular product. We've seen a lot of brands that have considered doing like $100,000 sweepstakes that they do through Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Or instead of giving 45% off, they're able to give away like a car or something that's very relevant and like on brand for that merchant in particular. Or my favorite is what they've been able to do is give away a customer's wish list. So they'll run a campaign where they'll say, we're giving away one customer's wish list, and they'll buy the entire wish list in its entirety during a certain window, right? So like finding ways where you can incentivize the right behavior without giving away house and home has definitely been a success. And just to add more clarity to the wish list piece, like we have over 2 million products that are added to wish lists inside of Tapcart apps every single month. And it's twofold, right? Like you're incentivizing customers to add items to wish lists in hopes that they actually win that. And then if they don't win that, you can run all the campaigns that are tied to the wish list data and the wish list products regardless. So you've now done kind of at 2 birds, 1 stone, right? You've been able to give away a customer's wish list, which is exciting, but now you have hundreds, if not thousands of customers that also have all these items in their wish list. You can use your ESP, use whatever campaigns you want to do to drive those customers to actually purchase those items as well. So lots of creative ways that we've seen brands not have to not have to resort. There we go. To the heavy discounting.
Yeah, the wish list campaign is definitely successful. We actually did something exactly like that this past actually last Black Friday, Christmas holiday, because that's the time most people are adding those products to their wish list, especially in the mobile app, because I think 86% of our audience is mobile based. So Tapcart was our main focus, and so yeah, the Tapcart wish list, we did that campaign, and we got I want to say our social media following increased by about 10% because of that campaign, and then just the engagement we got from that, it was incredible. So yeah, there are definitely so many creative and new ideas you can come up with to push this.
Yeah,
Nice.
I love that. I want my wish list to be given to someone by that, but it's so, like you said, it's so smart in terms of thinking about, like, again, using all these creative ideas that might not even be like for the holiday, but getting those behaviors and encouraging those things that are going to help you continue that loyalty, like even beyond and beyond and beyond. So yeah, I think the message here is ahead of Black Friday, but also continuing after Black Friday immediate, like just get all of your data, those insights about your customers, and being able to use that for these effective like campaigns and beyond is just so critical just for loyalty overall, even beyond the holidays. So great. Moving on to the next question. So I think we're kind of covering this a little bit, but obviously, like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it's critical, but a bad customer experience, and I think the stakes are higher on Black Friday, again, higher volumes, ticketing, all of that. Like it could be a true loyalty killer, right? To have your Black Friday experience go wrong. So what are some of those ways that brands can optimize their tech stack now to just ensure that cohesive customer experience during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and throughout the holiday season? And John, I'll kick this one off to you first.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is making sure that your systems talk to each other, right? I mean, it's so painful to go to some e-commerce brand sites and seeing they have like 80 things that are coming up on Wappalizer. If you don't know what Wappalizer is, it tells you like what tech particular e-commerce brand is using. Tech is great, and it obviously empowers us and expands the value of the brand and does a million wonderful things. But if it doesn't talk to each other, it's really tough, right? And so I think that's pretty critical as you're moving into the holiday season, making sure that like all your systems are talking to each other, and you're also like getting the most out of the platforms that you're using. I think we come up against this sometimes where folks aren't fully leveraging the solution to the nth degree. And like the nice thing is that you probably have a CSM who would love to connect with you on all the strategies that they would that they feel strongly about you setting up before the holiday. So take your CSMs up on the offer, take 30 minutes and maybe find some time to connect with them. I think that there's a lot of value in doing so. And July 31st, early August is a good time to do so.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback right off of that, like having your tech stack speak to each other is so important. Being omni-channel is so important, because when it comes to the support piece, which like you said earlier, Lindsay, it could ultimately be a loyalty killer. You want to make sure that when your support team is responding to customers, whether it's a simple question like, hey, can you send me my tracking information, or do you carry this product, or it's something more negative like, hey, my product arrived damaged, or I never received it. Either way, you want to know the whole scope of your customer. You want to know who you're speaking to, what their loyalty points look like, their past order history. And so having a when we're talking about help desk, having things all integrate together and have that information visible on a single dashboard really helps. And it also just enriches the data, right? So and on top of that, it will also help to increase response time, because now as a brand, you're not having to have a million bajillion tabs open, which I still know some brands today who don't have their tech stack optimized. That is an issue, right? Having to copy and paste data from Shopify, from Okendo, from whatever other technologies they're using to message back their customer. that takes time. Time is always of the essence. We always, in the sales world, people say time is the killer of all deals, right? And that goes to even direct to consumer business. So at the end of the day, yeah, also look at what native integrations are available within the technologies you're using today. See if everything you're using can truly all speak together, and that will provide, a world of difference for your processes, but also for the customer experience as a whole.
And to chime in on that from the merchant perspective, it's my suggestion is to see which of your programs can integrate with each other and speak to each other, because we as a brand, we utilize Gorgias, Tapcart, and Okendo for our reviews as well. And so no matter where the customer places their order, whether it be on Tapcart or on the website, they still get that email from Okendo requesting a review. And then we have an integration set up with Gorgias so that anytime a customer leaves a 1-star review, no matter what the reason, it creates a ticket within Gorgias for us. So that way our customer service team is notified, because a lot of times you'll get those customers that just kind of want to leave a complaint, but don't actually want to reach out to resolve it. So that's a great way to show your customers, hey, we're paying attention to you. You left this review, even though you didn't contact us, we want to resolve this issue for you. What can we do? So it allows us that direct line to reach out when we might have missed that opportunity just because of those integrations.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think like everyone's kind of hit the nail on the head. It's just making sure they work and it's one cohesive experience. But like to Gabby's point, like showing customers you care and you're paying attention, which I think if your tech stack isn't optimized to do that, then you're missing out on a lot of those like revenue opportunities, or, like I said, it's the loyalty killer, right? That bad brand experience. And I'd say it's also equally as important, like within your own tools, to make sure those are optimized as well to work with each other, especially if you're using like a platform that has multiple different features. There are some providers out there that have kind of bought a lot of solutions and kind of Frankenstein them a little bit and kind of natively integrated them. Whereas if you have a platform that's built everything from the ground up, where it's natively like meant to work, at Okendo, we're really proud of that. We've done that. That's the reason, when you can offer your loyalty program to points for a review or points for a referral or anything like that. It's all kind of working together natively. So that's something important as well, just like within each of your own tools, making sure like not only are the tools working with each other and connected, but make sure like each individual platform as well is prepared and optimized like from your customer experience. Because yeah, I think Black Friday, Cyber Monday is just so critical, and just there's always going to be problems. The worst thing you want is your site shutting down. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it's everyone's nightmare, right? But like, again, just thinking about how much more volume you're going to have on that day, how many more sales you're naturally going to have, how many more complaints you're probably going to have because people just want to complain. Or if there's an issue with shipping, like you don't want a review based on, hey, this product never got shipped to me. That really had nothing to do with like the product itself. And you don't want that to drag like down, but you still want to hear about that, right? Or you want to ask for things at the right time. So it's just so critical to really be thinking about all of those touch points for the holiday season as well. All right. So bringing us to our last question, and then we'll get into some Q&A because I've seen a really, really active chat, which we love. So we'll get to that there. But just to kind of close this off, I'm going to give all of our speakers like an opportunity here. What's one piece of advice you have for brands that are looking to drive loyalty ahead of Black Friday, Cyber Monday? So Lauren, we'll kick this off with you.
Yeah, I think having a consistent omni-channel communication, like across the board, right? It ensures consistent, personalized communication across, every single channel you're interacting with customers on, because let's be real, there's a ton. And it also makes the lives of your support team like that much easier. And so I would say in order to achieve this, having some kind of customer support software that makes this possible, that also will plug into, every other, technology that you're already using today. Yeah, just keep it omni-channel, keep it simple as possible.
round robin. John, let's go with you next.
Sounds good. I'd say like think about future you, right? It's 2025, New Year's Eve is over. Now you're thinking about how you can retarget all the wonderful customers that you worked hard to acquire at a cost, right? We see that 86% of shoppers are planning to shop from a mobile app this Black Friday, which is up from 67% last year. I think my big takeaway is like consider diversifying your own marketing and launching a mobile app with push notifications so that you're not having to pay an arm and a leg to retarget all those customers, but rather able to do so from push notifications that are a fraction of the cost of leveraging some historic channels like SMS and paid channels. So think about future you.
I love that. And Aaron.
Yeah, I would definitely double tap on take a look at your tech stack and understand what integrations are available for you. And if those use cases are going to be valuable, figure out ways to put those into play. If there are use cases that you're not seeing, like let your providers know about those. Like so many of the tech providers in the Shopify ecosystem, like we want to hear this feedback. We want to work better together as partners to provide value for our merchants. So yeah, taking a look at that, and then if you're not already really diving deep into your segmentation and understanding how those specific segments can be deployed into different campaigns.
Great. I love that. And yes, emphasize, tell your providers. We want that feedback. Like we build better products when we hear it from all of you guys. So I love that word of advice. And then Gabby.
I would say provide your customers a clear reason to come back to you, whether that be a loyalty program, a subscription, amazing customer service, or, and a completely tailored experience. Give them a reason to think of your brand every time they need to go shop for a product similar to yours. Especially with loyalty programs, 83% of shoppers actually are influenced by loyalty programs to buy again. So look at what you can offer them and give them that reason to return back to you.
Great. I love that. And then I'll give my just word of advice is, it's never too early to prepare. So I think we talked about that at the beginning. Start thinking about it now. It's just so high stakes. Now is the time, right? If you're not thinking about it now, then you might be behind. So with that, before we hop into Q&A, I'm just going to share my screen again. Okendo is excited to do a Black Friday, Cyber Monday preparation offer. So if you are interested in a loyalty program, as well as quizzes, referrals, or surveys or reviews, we are giving 3 months free on all of the products ahead of Black Friday, Cyber Monday on monthly or annual when you sign up before the end of September. So valid on net new subscriptions, but if you're a new customer to Okendo on all products, if you're an existing customer on Okendo on adding new products on our growth plans and above. So if you want to scan that QR code, you can get some more information there. And then with that, I've got the chat pulled up. Like I said, a ton of questions in here. So let me just kick off from the bottom top. Do you see SNS and loyalty having bigger moments this Black Friday, Cyber Monday? Gabby, I'll let you take this one, given you just launched your loyalty program.
No, I would absolutely say yes. Even just from a customer perspective, there's been numerous times that my phone is always on me, but I don't check my emails all the time. But my text messages are always going off and I'm always looking at those. So seeing those SMS texts come through is a constant reminder. Oh, hey, this just launched. I need to go look at that. Even if I knew it was coming, I forgot about it. So just even from a customer perspective, I would absolutely say yes. And we as a brand have been putting a lot more initiative into those SMS. We provide almost everything, receipts through SMS now. I feel like it's definitely going to have its moment, especially this as it continues to grow as a channel.
Great. I love to hear that. And then just looking. So what is everyone seeing with gamification on site, and to what extent is necessary to see ROI? Gabby, John, I don't know if either of these, are you gamifying at all?
I kind of go back and forth on this one, right? Like there was definitely a heyday when like everyone had like the spin to win, right? And then it became a little bit of a trope, right? Like, okay, like I guess as a brand, we can't be taken too seriously if we have a spin to win. Not saying that it doesn't still work, because it definitely does. I think it's like finding ways for it to be authentic to the brand, right? Like, is spin to win really the most authentic way for you to go about that? Or is there something that's uniquely your brand that you can create that would be more exciting and leave a more memorable, like unique experience in their mouth versus something that a lot of other brands have? So I'd say like, obviously you want to leverage, opt-in pop-ups, but find a way to do it where it's authentic to your brand. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of other gamification things, but that's one that came to mind.
Yeah. We've never used any kind of app or program for any kind of gamification. One thing that we have done in the past that we found was kind of successful was a website scavenger hunt. We'd post
That's
clues
fun.
on we'd post clues on social media of where they could go to find the first like answer or the first, clue. And it was over a like week-long period. And then by the end of the week, all the people that were able to like show that they found all those clues were entered into a drawing and they won like a $500 gift card.
See, like that's like I would love to do that. Like I want to do that now. Like give me the clues, Gabby. Let's go.
I'll let you know the next time we've got one rolling.
Okay. And like that gets customers excited, right? I think it's just like finding ways you can surprise and delight, right? Like we're all working 8 to 12 hours in front of a medium screen before we go to the couch and watch the big screen with our small screen in our hand. Like we like to be surprised and delighted sometimes, like zoom out from the day-to-day. So how can you do that with your brand in an authentic way?
I love the scavenger hunt. We do a lot of gamification at Rebuy. One of our perhaps like most popular features is our smart cart, which is like a slide out cart, and it's got this progress bar at the top, and you can add like these multiple tiers. And usually what that's doing is incentivizing higher average order values. So if we think about, okay, tying it back to customer loyalty, you know that your VIP tier for the most loyal customers with the highest LTV are typically purchasing these products around this value. It's like, how can you nudge them along to that? But one of the coolest things that I saw being done with that, because typically what you'll see is like maybe a discount at a specific amount or maybe a free product, free shipping to kind of edge the customer along. But one of the coolest things that I've seen there is, and I see Taylor Swift in the chat, is one of our merchants was actually giving away entries for a Taylor Swift ticket when customers were hitting specific thresholds as well too. And revenue from that campaign was just absolutely wild. So yeah, I think tying it all together to John's point, like thinking through your brand and what is really speaking for your brand to your customers, and figuring out ways to gamify that, make it really fun and create great experiences with your customers.
Great. All right. So I'm reading a few questions that are kind of along similar lines of, resources or ideas for creating a loyalty program if you don't have one already, as well as, certain verticals that might be harder to do loyalty. I see one for maternity in particular. I think, things to think about, especially like, again, to that point is a loyalty program like the right use case for your business? There's ways. I think the biggest thing is like cross-selling as you're expanding into new product lines. Like those are really great ways, or even to see if people are continuing to stay loyal to their brand, even if they're kind of have a certain time frame on their brand in the case of like maternity, but are they buying gifts for other people? Is, like finding out that, how old they are, or like where they're from, or things like that. That could all help you figure out, like, do they have a community of other things that they could purchase from you for? So I think that's also something to consider is even if, the product line is kind of definite, there's ways to really think about like gifting and other ways to keep them engaged in that community. Or you can just think about other ways to do loyalty that isn't necessarily a loyalty program. So we work with Dreamland Baby, and they actually do a really great quiz that helps you figure out like what is the right size for your baby and your baby's needs. And like that overall, again, I think I talked about this of like making sure that they have the good, right and positive experience with your brand from the start. Those are other ways to build that loyalty as well. Even again, if there's no loyalty program, they might continue to purchase that gift for their friends, for their family, and all of that later on. So it's super important to that. But Gabby, I mean, I kind of will let you dig a little bit into as well of like, how did you even approach starting your loyalty program or thinking about that if you're starting from the ground up?
Yeah, of course. So as I mentioned, we had been trying to launch a loyalty program prior to signing up with Okendo. We had attempted to do so with Smile, and we chose Smile specifically because of their flat rate cost. Um, Again, like I said, though, they didn't allow us to backdate orders. There was a few other issues that we ran into with them, and it ended up sitting in our back end for roughly 2 years, I want to say. And that's about the same time frame, that 2-year time frame that we've been using Okendo reviews. And we found such success with Okendo reviews because I remember when we first signed on, one of those things that I said to the CSM or the onboarding manager was, we're not going to be one of those brands that gets thousands of reviews. Our products sell out too fast. It's not going to happen for us. And then since we signed on with Okendo 2 years ago, we have over now 70,000 reviews, simply because you guys showed us we were doing it wrong. So because of that and the success we had with that, when our CSM at the time, it was Steven, he mentioned that you guys were launching a loyalty program, I immediately thought, oh, I want to hear more about this. And I'd spoken with several different programs, Yotpo being one of the bigger ones and Loyalty Lion. And I was so impressed with Okendo's interactivity for the customers, because if you go look at our loyalty landing page, which I can drop a link in the chat for anyone who's curious, it's so interactive. Like, you log in and it will show you how many points you have earned. It'll show you how to earn points. It'll show you if you've completed that method for earning points. It'll show you the rewards that you can redeem, how close you are to earning that next reward that you can redeem. It'll show you what tier you're in, how many dollars and points you have to earn to get to the next tier. I mean, it's so easy to use, which is great for the customer experience, and just building it was such a collaborative process. Like, we worked with Okendo very closely, and they were, on top of everything. Like, anytime we had a question, we heard back, within an hour, with a solution to the issue we were having. When we launched, we ran into a few bugs, as you will with any kind of launch, and they were right there ready to help us out. And it was resolved within a few hours. It was such a collaborative process, and probably one of the better experiences I've had with launching a program of this caliber.
So great. We love hearing the success that you've had and all that. And like I said, we'll absolutely help you kind of get there and make sure, because we know it's a critical and sometimes overwhelming process to start from new. We also have a ton of resources just on okendo.io, on our blog, guides, case studies. Like, definitely take a look and see, learning. And then we're here if you have any questions. But I think that seems to be the main things. I saw Aaron was going in there live answering, so that was great. Some specific questions. But yeah, this has been a great conversation. Like I said, it's summer, but the holidays are here, and it's time to think about it now. And I just wanted to thank all of our panelists so much just for joining us today and really providing some really great insights for all the brands and everyone on the call today. And yeah, we absolutely just wish you guys like good luck this holiday season. We're all here. So just email any of us, connect with us on LinkedIn. We're all more than happy to continue conversations if you were interested in anything today. But thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.